Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon, episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host and the noob. My name is Clavell.
We're a couple of magical people ready to moon prison power make up this episode. Sailor Moon is brought to you by Late Night Crepes.
Oh boy, here comes the info dump. Is it an info dump if you're watching it, or just if somebody's saying it?
I think they both can count, don't you think?
Neo, check this out. I've got a holodeck presentation about why we're all batteries. An info dump, surely, but dramatized.
Yes, and I wish this one had been more dramatized.
Well, it's fairly dramatized.
Well, I suppose
and I'm
you're right.
traumatized from all the drama.
So today we are talking about episode number 44, Usagi no Kakusei, Chokako no Message in Japanese, Usagi's Awakening, a message from the distant past, the English translation, and the English title, The Past Returns.
There must be a word in Japanese for message.
I guess they just wanted to have it sound kind of like English.
Okay.
I don't know.
The message is written in English.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, do you want to just get into it?
I guess so. Do you get excited? So I've been watching these recently on Viz, on Viz.com.
Yes.
Which I'm not afraid to tell you, although I don't know why the entire franchise is on there, and I feel like if too many people know about it, they'll take it down or something like that. But anyway, that's where I'm watching it. And in
Viz redid the dub.
Right.
Recently.
And
so
in these, so they don't care about the old ones? Or is this the...
Well, they, so...
I don't listen to the dub, so I don't know.
I know. Well, Viz, like, just a couple of years ago, they started redoing all the dub, season by season. So I think that's why they're offering it.
Because they redid it?
Because they redid it.
Wouldn't they release it and say, buy it again for the first time?
They also have it available to buy on, like, DVD, Blu-ray. So, yeah.
Well, anyway,
that's
original point. I don't know why they're giving it away online, but it's an option to watch it there if you want to. And in these later episodes, for some reason, they've added a Toei animation trailer.
That. Yeah.
And so when things appear on screen and then there's like like music, it's like, oh, is this some new opening or something? No, it's just the insane looking cat from Toei just here to tell you that it's Toei animation.
Is it a cat or is it like a mouse? Because it almost like...
Is it both?
Is it both?
Does it hate itself?
Yeah.
And find itself delicious at the same time?
It almost looks like the Looney Tune character. What's his name?
First of all, it's Jerry the mouse, and it's not Looney Tunes.
No, I'm not thinking of Jerry.
Oh, well, that's what it looks like to me.
I'm thinking of...
Are you thinking of
the mouse with the sombrero.
You mean Speedy Gonzales?
Yes, Speedy Gonzales. Thank you. Yes.
It also kind of looks like, I don't remember his name, Baby Mouse. He talks like a baby. Is there a Warner Brothers character that's like, I'm a mouse? And it's like
a baby.
Yeah.
Sure. I thought there was like... I thought there was a penguin
all
that
Looney
talked
Tune
like a baby.
character.
Yeah.
There's Chili Willy, but he doesn't really talk.
Oh, okay. All right.
This is a different podcast.
I'm getting my cartoons all mixed up.
Yeah, old cartoons podcast. No, but I just like all Warner Brother characters are designed to be annoying because it's so funny because like Mickey Mouse is like, hey, he's fun. And old Mickey Mouse was he's a bad guy.
Yeah, right.
He didn't, he was kind of lazy and he got into all kinds of trouble. I don't want to talk about like the racial implications of that, but
oh boy.
But now he's like, hey, I'm fun. Hey, it's great. And then they've got one guy, Donald the Duck. Mm-hmm. Also Donald Duck. I think that's his middle name. Is a real prick.
Yep.
But over in Warner Brothers, all pricks. They're all designed to torment some other character.
Yes.
Who maybe is a little high strung, but I feel like he's in the right here. They just want to sleep, hunt.
Yeah, right.
Just do normal things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but they're all pissed off by the sardonic character who is just one of the Marx brothers. It just depends on which one.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if Groucho ever got paid off of that.
Probably not.
Chica needed the money. We open with Luna on the street. Luna on the beat. It's nighttime in the city, and she is booking it to the Tsukino household.
Yes.
In her bed, Usagi is dreaming of Tuxedo Mask, and Luna bounds into her window. That's their move now. Her eyes are glowing like cat's eyes. It's a cool effect. And Luna says, "Wake up! It's an emergency! Sailor Venus and Artemis found the entryway to the Dark Kingdom hideout!"
Yes.
We cut to the title card. It's a teaser.
Yes.
They're doing this a lot now. They're evolving their storytelling. So I have my doubts, but the entrance is real. And it's located at Cafe Crepe, a.k.a. La Crepe, a.k.a. Crepe Shop. The most over-promoted crepe shop in Tokyo.
3 different names.
The place so nice, they named it thrice.
Yes.
And folded it twice. All the Sailor Scouts have gathered. It's literally a hole behind a secret door in the crepe shop, so they didn't think too much about this, but that's fine. The girls charge in, cats in tow, and they're in an underground tunnel. They see a ghostly-looking form in the tunnel that resolves into Kunzite. This is a new thing he can do, I guess.
Yeah.
He says, "Well, I'd like to let you into the Dark Kingdom, but we're not ready just yet, so I'll send you somewhere fun." Jupiter tries to hit him with the Supreme Thunder. He dodges out of the way. He says, "Give me the crystal and I'll spare your lives." But Usagi says, "Yeah, if you tell me where Tuxedo Mask is, I won't punish you."
Yeah.
And Kunzite's like, "Kids, I'm sending you to the multi-dimensional chaos world. It could be dinosaurs, could be Nazis, who knows? It's a fun time. See you later." He shoots energy out of his hands, and the girls are swept away. And Usagi loses her grip on the moonstick. And Kunzite says, "I'll take that." But as he reaches out for it, the stick flips over in midair and smacks his hand like, "Oh, owie."
Yes.
So it's got a mind of its own. The girls do not end up in Nazi times, although I'd pay to see that. They end up in the intro to the Twilight Zone, which this is clearly like a reference, right? There's like grids flying by. I think there's like an eye that flies by.
Yeah, that's a good
And they're in
point.
like space. Yeah. When they finally come to rest, they're in the ruins of a kingdom. And a voice says, "You are in the ruins of Silver Millennium, the land of gods from the distant past." A point of light floats down and becomes a beautiful woman with wings and silver hair. It's very Glenda the Good Witch. And she says, "I'm the incarnation of the moon goddess Selene, and I bear a message. I am Queen Serenity of Silver Millennium, and I am your mother, Usagi." And Usagi's like, "What?"
Yep.
Queen Serenity says, "I awakened Luna and Artemis from cold sleep so that they could contact you." This is like, at this point in the episode, I'm like, all right, here we go. How fast can I type? It's just going to be that thing they do now where it's just a bunch of like, here's a bunch of things that, references to things and stuff we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
As she gets closer, we see that she's actually in a little bubble. So it is very Wizard of Oz. She's in a tiny, bubble the size of a beach ball or something.
Yeah.
So she's not really there. This is an Obi-Wan Kenobi type thing.
Right.
She does something magical, and we see a vision of the past. Serenity says, "We are part of a long line of humans born on the moon. The legendary silver crystal is a sacred heirloom stone of the moon." And I guess the moon is very sentimental. They have all these heirlooms. Our mission is to watch over the earth and help it advance. And we see the Moon Kingdom how it was. We see a ball where guys and girls are dancing, but not guys and guys or girls and girls. So representation failed. Nice job, Takeuchi.
She didn't do the animation.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Wow.
She says, "Serenity, Usagi, you would often gaze at the earth, dreaming of breezes and trees and traffic and bee stings." Anyway, she just thinks the earth looks cool, I guess.
Yeah.
"Then you met Prince Endymion, the Prince of the Earth. And in the vision, he arrives at the ball, and he's like, I got bad news. A lot of us on the Earth have been brainwashed by Beryl." That is bad news.
Yeah.
"Beryl herself has been possessed by an evil energy called Metalia. And, get this, she preys on the dreams of humans to extend her life." So, like, dreams, like as in passion? Like, is that the energy that she's been taking? Because we see that the energy that she takes, be it like smelly rabbits or getting thin or whatever, is connected to desire and passion.
I'm going to say probably yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's Smart thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's trying to take over the moon, so gotta go. And he just splits. Back on Earth, Earth, in our time, Luna and Artie are searching for the Dark Kingdom. They come out of the cave into a blizzard.
Yeah.
They're not where they thought they were going to be.
No.
In the vision, back in the vision in the past, Serenity arrives at the ball. The Serenity from the past. This is all going to get really confusing.
Yep.
And Endymion is in his Tuxedo Mask outfit, and he asks her to dance. It's not all great, though, because as they dance, he tells her that war is about to erupt between the Earth and the Moon, and they'll have to be enemies. And that's why he's wearing this disguise, a mask for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Oh! Okay. How would you like to get stuck in your Halloween costume from 2003 for the rest of your life?
Yeah, right. It better be a good one.
But that is an interesting little twist there.
I never really thought about it like that, but I think you're like a really great point. Yeah.
Yes. But when he appears in a superhero disguise,
yes.
It is this unconscious disguise that he put on to kind of Romeo and Juliet talk to her at this ball.
Right. Right, because he couldn't talk to her as Endymion because
I don't know where the roses come from. No explanation. I guess they don't have roses on the moon. There's no roses on the moon. So.
Yeah, right. It's a plant from Earth.
Yes.
So.
Endymion says Metalia is pure evil energy and Beryl is a wizard. So their team's stacked.
Yeah.
And I have to try and eliminate Metalia ASAP or the moon is going to be in trouble. He says, I need your help. Mm-hmm. And they kiss. We jump ahead in time, and we see an evil cloud, not in time, in the vision ahead in time.
Yeah.
Told you it was going to be confusing.
Yeah.
And we see an evil cloud heading from the Earth to the moon. How do you know it's evil? It has eyes and a mouth.
That are evil looking.
It's also full of angry brunette warriors with swords.
Yeah, they're all
I make that point because
reason.
Everybody on the moon is blonde.
Yeah. Yeah, good
from
point.
Earth has, yeah, we all know that, men have brown hair, women have blonde hair. We know.
Well, we know this. Yeah.
In the ballroom, Luna and Artie, this is past Luna and Artie. They should give them little goatees or something.
Right.
Tell everybody, the Earthmen are coming. Which you don't hear a lot. No. They want to see our leader. We see the palace get nuked or something. It just immediately gets obliterated.
Yeah.
And we see sailors Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus fighting in the past. They try to attack the cloud, but they're swept up in a vortex. And we see Beryl above her troops cackling. She calls on Metalia and says, the Dark Kingdom is born! We've got the Dark Kingdom! And we see the four great lords, the kings there.
Yes.
And Kunzite is there with a spear or something like that. And he's like,
Yeah, yep.
You didn't do anything, buddy. You just showed up. You're in the entourage.
I know.
Anyway, it's a grim scene.
Yeah.
We go to break.
Mm-hmm.
We come back from break, and with the palace still crumbling.
Yeah. And
we hear Summer, the third movement of Summer from The Four Seasons by Vivaldi. They just directly take that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to pay for it.
Right.
But I wonder why that specifically.
Right.
It's interesting. And now I'm thinking back, because I got a pretty good head for classical music. I don't remember a lot of classical musics before. But
no, I don't think that they actually
it's interesting
played a
that
lot.
Right there they decide to put that there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there you go.
I wonder why summer. Like, is this supposed to happen during summer or something
well,
like
you'd
that?
think you'd pick winter, right? But like the first movement of winter is a little up tempo, but the rest of them are kind of like not. So
maybe it's just because it's more warlike.
They should have picked Mars, although that's confusing because it's Earth. Mars from whole planets, I mean.
Okay.
Which is like ba 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 ba.
Sure.
But of course, that's confusing because Mars is not involved in this yet.
No.
Is there a Prince of Mars? There's a Princess of Mars.
There's a Princess of Mars.
Yeah. I don't know if you're revealing anything or if you're also talking about the Barsoom novels, but we're going to move on so nothing gets ruined. The kingdom is crumbling. Mm-hmm. Serenity is watching it happen. Beryl appears and attacks her, but a red rose flies between them, stopping it. Yes. And Endymion appears to protect the Moon Princess. Beryl says, "Oh, what are you doing? Marry me. You'll be both the king of both Earth and the Moon."
Yeah.
He says, "Look, honey, you're under the influence of Metalia. You got to snap out of it." But she says, nah, I'm going to kill you both.
Yeah.
And the huge, shadowy form of Metalia shoots out a green beam that blasts Endymion back, like way back, like on a wind. He's like being blown out into space.
Yeah.
Serenity jumps off the balcony, and she is pulled into the sky with him just as they're about to touch hands. They get blasted again and thrown apart.
Mm-hmm.
They're both just floating now, seemingly dead.
Yes.
And Beryl is loving it. And Queen Serenity and the cats are totally devastated. But the queen produces the moonstick and inserts the silver crystal into it.
Mm-hmm.
She's loading it.
Yeah, right.
Luna says, if you use the power of the crystal, you'll die. But the queen says, that doesn't matter. The earth and the moon are at stake. And she gives us a huge moon healing escalation.
Yes.
The great spirit of Metalia and all the Dark Kingdom warriors are dissolved. Something. They disappear. No idea what's happening.
Yeah.
It's vague.
It
Cut
is
to the
vague.
snow world in the present, and the cats. They're having a tough time. But they're still looking for the Dark Kingdom hideout. They find a giant crevasse in the ice, and they're like, that's it. It's the entrance to the Dark Kingdom. We have to tell the others. But Kunzite appears behind them, and he says, too late.
Yeah.
Jump on his face.
This is what you've been doing.
That's your move.
Yeah.
You've practiced this.
Yeah.
But we cut back to the moon in the past.
Yep.
And the invaders are gone. Everybody's gone. Queen Serenity is dying. She tells the cats, the silver crystal helps bring peace when used by the energy of a good heart. When it's used for evil, it becomes a sinister weapon. I sealed away Metalia, but she could return. If that happens, give the moonstick to the princess to guard the world. To Serenity and the Sailor Guardians, may your love be fulfilled on the earth of the future.
Mm-hmm.
And she opens her hand. The silver crystal flies up into space. We also see the bodies of Serenity and Damian, the Guardians, and many others all fly into space towards the Earth.
Yep.
And as she dies, the moonstick vanishes, and the cats are encased in tubes. Oh, yeah, you guys are going to be frozen in tubes. Sorry. Boop, done.
I know,
All
right?
See you later.
Why weren't they in like little bubbles with everybody else?
Yeah. We use magic on them. We got this great unfrozen caveman lawyer technology to do on you guys.
Yeah, right.
See you in a million years.
Yeah.
Back in the cave, the moonstick reappears, and so do the Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
The girls are absorbing what they've learned about their pasts, but there's no time. The cats appear, shivering, as does Kunzite, not shivering, but shooting a blast at the cats, who collapse. Kunzite is like, what? I sent you to the multidimensional chaos world.
Yes.
But Mako says, we got better. And Venus says, thanks, idiot. Now we know our histories.
Yeah, right.
Let's show our gratitude, girls. And Kunzite says, get this. You impudent little dress-up dolls. Which I thought was pretty great.
That is a great line.
You got a choice insult in there.
Yeah.
And he blasts a shadow out that darkens the cave. That's his Shaban spray.
Yes.
And he produces 2 light boomerangs. This is new.
Yep.
And he slashes the hell out of Sailor Moon with these boomerangs, and she collapses. And Venus is like, screw this. Let's unite our powers. And the inner Senshi put their transformation pens together, and they're bathed in starlight, in bright light. And Sailor Moon starts to get up. All this time, Kunzite is just slashing them to ribbons with the boomerangs.
Yes.
But Usagi says, even if you buy us haute couture as replacements, I can't forgive you for shredding girls' clothes.
Yeah.
Hear, hear. In the name of the moon, I'll punish you. Out comes the moonstick. Moon healing escalation. The silver crystal flares and Kunzite recoils. He yells, I'm one of the 4 kings of the Dark Kingdom. I'm not going to yell refresh.
Which is another great line.
And one last time, he throws out his boomerang at Sailor Moon's heart. But she deflects it easily, casually with the moonstick. And it returns back like a good little boomerang, piercing the heart of the last king of the Dark Kingdom.
Yes.
As he dies, he says, Zoisite, guide me to where your soul lives in limbo. And he disappears.
Yeah.
And the girls are like, well, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Goes unheard. Usagi runs to scoop up Luna, who's in bad shape.
Yeah.
There's a hurt
she
kitty.
is. Yeah.
And Luna tells her, the Dark Kingdom entrance is at point D in the Arctic Circle. And Artie says, hurry before the sunspots spread. Remember those? That was the thing.
Yeah.
We didn't see that the sun was darkened when the Earth Kingdom went after the... I mean, they said that, but we don't see that in the vision.
No, you're right. They didn't show that in the flashback for some reason.
There's a lot going on.
There was a lot going on.
Sailor Moon says, we'll storm the place. Right, girls? Yeah. Big splash page, team pose. They're going to go get him. So,
yes.
Action to come, but not ending on a cliffhanger like the last What's the one before the penultimate? There's the ultimate, go back one, penultimate, then the
right.
tertiary ultimate.
Yeah, right. I guess that's
not leaving
what
us
this is.
hanging this time, but still,
Setting
there's
us
more to tell.
Setting us up really good for next time.
I got questions.
Go for it.
I don't even remember what I predicted would happen, so we'll just let that go. But couple questions in no particular order.
Okay.
Are Tuxedo Mask's parents real?
What do you mean?
I guess he's reincarnated in a new body, so he was born from a woman, and so they did die in a car wreck.
Yes. The way they
he didn't just
remember
forget
they were asking
Sesame Street. He forgot like his entire life, like as Tuxedo Mask and Endymion.
Yeah, it's really he forgot everything before 6 years old, and then like he doesn't remember being Endymion, but he also like turned into Tuxedo Mask, but doesn't remember being Tuxedo Mask. So it's like really weird. You know what I mean? It's like I don't remember what, like, there's different terms for different amnesia, but his amnesia is like so specific.
There's
right?
anterograde and retrograde amnesia.
Right. And I think retrograde is
retrograde is where you can't you forget old memories.
Right.
Anterograde is where you can't make new memories.
Okay. Well, okay.
You asked the right person.
I did.
I don't think that it applies here.
No,
though.
I don't think it does either. But yes,
are you saying that if he didn't like hit his head, he would remember like Usagi does when he transforms?
Well, he would remember transforming. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like that's what.
Maybe
they're
it's
saying.
okay. So look, we've had a lot of comic references in this. Maybe it's a Captain Marvel situation, and I mean like. I kind of mean Carol Danvers, but I mostly mean the original Captain Marvel in that, or do I mean Quasar? Maybe I mean Billy Batson. All the Captain Marvels involve switching.
Some sort of amnesia, switching.
Activating your power, and you switch, literally a body with somebody, sometimes sharing a mind. And like when Carol Danvers first became Captain Marvel, she would become Captain Marvel, but she didn't remember that she was Carol Danvers. And so maybe it's like something like that when he turns into Tuxedo Mask.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he doesn't have control over it originally.
No, he does not, which is weird. But when they first learn about their past lives, after it's revealed that Usagi is Princess Serenity, they ask if they're aliens or whatever. And
we aliens? Which
right.
That's something you expect to ask.
No,
when you wake up in the morning.
But Venus explains, no, we're human. Our parents are our parents. Queen Serenity wanted us to be reborn on Earth. So I think we can assume
at
that
the time
it's the
of
same.
Manga,
right?
And anime and video games,
right?
You're welcome.
Yes, and I think we can assume that the same is true of Mamoru then. So yes, his parents were real.
Yeah, but Serenity wasn't thinking, oh, I got to make sure that cute boy my daughter likes comes back too.
She sent him back too.
Yeah, but why would she do it though?
Because she wanted them to find happiness in the future. So she
guess.
was thinking maybe they'll find each other again.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question. There's only two. What's so special about the cats? There's two. There's two talking cats in the Moon Kingdom. Well, not just that there's just two, I guess, but like why are there talking cats in the Moon Kingdom? I don't know.
I think the manga way later on goes on into more.
But there's not like a Japanese
that.
Legend about cats in the moon or something.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No.
I bet you Nako Takeuchi likes cats.
I bet she does too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were. Did she say that they were placed on the moon to watch over the Earth? Like, how did they get to the moon? Why are they on the moon, and why are they watching the Earth? Who put them there?
I don't know that that's necessarily ever explained.
Well, don't say ever, because that means it'll never be explained.
Well, I don't.
It's too late. You said
I
it.
don't recall there ever being an explanation.
Here's a good question.
Yeah.
Were there schoolgirls on the moon?
Not that I'm aware of.
Why are they? Except for just branding. Why are their costumes Sailor Fuku's? Do you know what I mean?
I think that's
because this raises a couple questions. Because first of all, Tuxedo Mask has a getting things done outfit, which is his armor and stuff like that when he's Endymion.
Yes.
And then as we explained, we don't want to get too much into like what people dressed like eons ago, but tuxedo's formal. They had balls. You're wearing a tuxedo. Like I said, there's not a Genghis on the moon, but whatever.
Right.
So we know that that's his like outfit when he does superhero stuff. But the sailors just look like schoolgirls. And so was there like a parochial school on the moon?
No, I don't.
The
I don't think
Archdiocese
so.
of the moon?
No,
So I just thought that that would have been like a cool chance to give them like
Something
cool
else.
outfits like Endymion, like Power Ranger costumes that they transform into when they're going to defend the moon or something. But it's branding.
I don't disagree with you. I think the reasoning behind it is that in the manga, Nako Takeuchi draws them in their
right. But I'm just
in those outfits.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they're still wearing them.
This is since this is like the beginning or the origin of the series or the underpinning story.
Mm-hmm.
This is an invasion narrative, which I think is interesting. We talk about how Godzilla is supposed to be, it's atomic power.
Right.
The Japanese were working out trauma from World War II or whatever.
Yes.
And that's true, but also they were invaded a lot and did their own share of invading.
Yep. That's true.
Throughout their history. So I think it's interesting that this is, I guess I don't know what it says because I'm not a cultural anthropologist who specializes in Japan.
You're not.
But it is, it's a narrative of a larger body invading a smaller body.
No, you're absolutely right.
And I'm playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
So that's on my mind.
No, I think that's a really good point too, and I think maybe we could probably also assume that at this time, which we don't know how far in the past this was, we can assume it's way, way, way long ago, that there are probably more people on Earth than on the moon as well.
Well, I mean, were they who was on Earth back then? Was there a whole race of humans that lived millions of years before we thought?
I don't know.
Was there did not to get like religious, but when she sends all of these people in bubbles, does it make the seas rise and that's the flood and it wipes out all these civilizations?
Wow.
And these are are we the descendants? Are we all the descendants of the moon people?
Descendants of the moon people of the Moon Kingdom? I mean, maybe. I don't know that that's really what they were thinking when they went with that image. Huh.
That's clever.
That is really clever. I think that's I think you bring up an interesting point. So,
just so they'd show up and be able to drive a bus out of a clock zone. That was a clock zone too when they fought because that was the
episode that Mars appeared.
That was the hurry up one where they didn't have enough time. But that wasn't the bus one too, was it?
The clock one
matter.
was the hurry up one. Everybody was late.
Doesn't matter. Point D is a real place, although it's real nerdy. It's not like a real place. It's just like a reference point at a certain set of GPS or latitude, longitude coordinates.
Oh, okay.
Near the Arctic Circle or
Okay.
inside the Arctic Circle. So I don't know why that was a pick, but it's also a place that is underwater usually, or at least it is. There isn't any land there. It's under the ice cap.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore.
Right.
And wow, I mean, you could make a whole army disappear with your gem. Serenity versus Thanos. That's what I want to know. Who wins? Queen Serenity, she's pretty powerful.
Yes. Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
perfectly balanced as all things should be.
Well, and if you think about it, like the silver crystal came about with the gemstones from the 7 legendary Yoma and her tears. So yeah, they are kind of equivalent.
But if Thanos is like, I have all the gems. Hold on 1 second. Sir, what are you doing? Just thinking about when my dog died when I was a kid. Okay, I got my tears. Okay. I'm inevitable. Don't laugh. And
I like that.
Ultimately, dang that Saban Moon.
Why?
The script that I read for the Saban Moon, I read the treatment for Saban Moon before I watched the show, and at the beginning, a Queen Beryl invades with her army the Moon Kingdom, and the Queen of the Moon has to send all the her daughter and all the sailors back in time. Or I think it's back in time in that, but has to send them away.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
So you knew.
I already this is a foundation of lies. I was spoiled before this even began because of that stupid show that never aired.
I know. Well, you don't know anything about next season, right?
Sailor Moon. No, I mean, I don't know. No, I don't know anything about the next season.
See? So there you go. You'll be all noobed up.
Until they make Saban Moon R.
Oh my gosh.
We open at a crepe shop.
Your Honor, a courtroom is a crucible. In it we burn away irrelevancies until we are left with a pure product, the truth, for all time.
Oh man, this is so intense. Data's on trial for his life.
I know. This episode, The Measure of a Man, is based on the Supreme Court's Dred Scott decision of 1857.
And every week on Backtracking, we take a look at the real-world events that inspired classic Star Trek episodes. Sorry. Shut up! Shh.
Who are you?
We're the hosts of Backtracking. I'm Caliban.
You will both be taken to the brig and from there to the nearest starbase, where you will answer charges for what you have done.
And I'm Gooey Fame.
This is not a game. This is life and death.
You can follow us on Twitter.
Backtracking is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
You go f*** yourself.
For Kyoro Kyorumiru, or Curiously Looking Around, where we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode, today we're going to talk about William Adams, who was the first Englishman to reach Japan.
An Englishman in Japan.
Yes, and I will explain why. In this episode, we see Prince Endymion of Earth, who is an advisor or ambassador of sorts to the royal family of the Moon Kingdom. Adams was an Englishman who became an advisor to Tokugawa Ieyasu, the shogun of Japan.
The shogun of Japan.
Yes. He
the big one.
The big one. Yes. I don't think he was necessarily the first to
okay. Cliff notes.
Oh, okay.
Warring States period.
Yes.
Everybody's fighting.
Yeah.
Oda Nobunaga is the ultimate warlord who knocks off a lot of these guys and kind of unites the rest. And we got that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then Hideo Toyotomi kind of gets rid of him. Or I think he just dies. I can't remember. And so he's like, all right, I'm the guy. I got all this stuff. But then Ieyasu is this other guy that they kind of brought out, and he was a general. It's kind of George Washington-esque figure. It wasn't very accomplished, I don't think, militarily.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets kind of set up, and they don't really like what Toyotomi's doing. And so it's like, maybe one more coup? Just one more coup before we just bring this to a close.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had this big battle, the Battle of Sekigahara, where
Yes.
Ieyasu wins, and then it's basically undisputed because everybody else is dead. There are very few people who could even challenge him at that point.
And the guy before him, was it, what's his name?
Toyotomi.
Toyotomi. He had a son who Ieyasu was actually kind of supposed to be in charge of, taking care of, but he was basically just like, no, I'm the shogun now.
There's a lot of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I took him for a walk, and I don't know, you guys just disappeared.
I don't think he killed him. I think he just took over instead of the kid taking over. But anyways.
He choked to death on his grilled cheese.
Wow.
Cut the crust off and everything.
William Adams was an English navigator known in Japanese as Miura Anjin, which translates as the pilot of Miura. And the Miura Peninsula is a peninsula located in Kanagawa, Japan.
On Kyushu.
No, I think it actually is on. I think it's on Honshu, the main island, actually. But he does have a connection to Kyushu, though. Okay. Yes.
I had a 1 in 5 chance.
More or less, yeah. For the main islands, in 1598, Adams, who was 34 years old at the time, shipped as pilot major with a 5-ship fleet and left from the island of Texel in the Netherlands to the Far East by a company of Rotterdam merchants, which was a predecessor of the Dutch East India Company. The voyage was planned to sail for the west coast of South America, where they would trade their goods for silver, and go to Japan only if the first expedition failed. The plan was to sail through the Strait of Magellan, which is a sea route in southern Chile that separates mainland South America to the north and Terra del Fuego to the south. This is one part of the voyage that actually went according to plan. The voyage was extremely difficult and disastrous. Of the 5 ships, only one, which was named Love, reached Japan. During the journey, many of the 100-man crew caught and died of a fever. Others became sick with scurvy and dysentery. They weathered a lot of storms at sea, which ended up separating the fleet. The ship Hope landed on Mocha Island, which is off the coast of Chile, where 27 members of the crew were killed by the Araucanos, who were the native people of that area.
Hey.
Yeah.
He's the navigator, so if they got lost...
Well, he's like, I don't know if there were more than one navigator.
Blame William.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's probably more than one. He was the chief I was hired for chief pilot of a fleet of 5 sails.
Yeah.
So
he was the chief pilot. Yeah, you're right. In April 1600, after more than 19 months at sea, a crew of 23 sick and dying men brought the ship Love to anchor off the island of Kyushu in Japan. After they set anchor, disease continued to ravage the remaining members of the crew.
This was always the plan, right?
This was kind of the backup plan. The main plan was to trade with, I think,
and it's like a thing
South America specifically. I think they were aiming for Chile, I think, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, but they wanted to go to the Far East.
That was the backup plan.
Yeah.
If they weren't able to trade their goods in South America, they were going to go to Japan.
They're like, nobody wants this stuff. Circumnavigate the globe? Well, I guess that's where we are.
Pretty much.
It's just why didn't they just go to India?
I think they did. Japan was their backup plan, so that's where they wanted to go.
Well, it's amazing that they even made it to Japan.
It is. When they made landfall on April 19th off Bungo, present-day Usuki in Oita Prefecture, Adams was one of the 9 surviving crew members. They were met by Japanese locals and Portuguese Jesuit missionary priests who asserted that Adams' ship was a pirate ship and that the crew should be put to death as pirates.
Jeez. Thanks, priests.
Yeah, I know. I guess they didn't they didn't trust other foreigners here. I wonder why.
They had their own hustle.
Yeah, right. The ship was taken hold of and the crew were imprisoned at Osaka Castle on orders by Tokugawa Ieyasu, who at that time was the daimyo of Edo and in 3 years' time, the future shogun. Adams met Ieyasu in Osaka 3 times between May and June of 1600. He was questioned by Ieyasu. Adams' knowledge of ships, shipbuilding, and mathematics pleased Ieyasu very much. In 1604, Tokugawa commanded Adams and his former crew members to assist Mukai Shogun, the commander-in-chief of the Navy of Uragata, to construct Japan's first Western-style vessel. This sailing ship was assembled at the harbor of Ito, a city at the east coast of the Izu Peninsula in Shizuoka Prefecture on Honshu, with carpenters from the harbor laboring to do the actual construction of the 80-ton vessel. The ship was utilized to survey the Japanese coast. The next year, Ieyasu commanded that a larger ship of 120 tons be constructed. In 1609, Adams contacted the interim governor of the Philippines, Rodrigo del Vivero y Abercia, on behalf of Ieyasu, who wished to establish direct trade contracts with New Spain, which covered territories in North America, South America, Asia, and Oceania, which included Australia, Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia.
This is why the Prime Directive exists. No, seriously, this is why Star Trek has a Prime Directive.
Involved.
Because, yeah, it's not like Japan shouldn't be able to have stuff and trade, but they didn't have any of this stuff until either people came and went, "Hi, we're from next door.
Right.
Gonna borrow a cup of black sugar."
Right.
Which I learned about the other day.
Yes.
Or something random happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got this guy who is, at this point, not the main guy, but he's poised to be the main guy. And hey, we found a white guy, and his ship is really cool.
Yeah.
It's got a bunch of puke all over it because everybody's dead. And then this guy who's like about to be the main guy is like, let me talk to this guy. He's like, oh yeah, you guys got metal armor. You got guns. That's a nice ship.
They did some
it's
of
like
this.
It's like a piece of technology from Star Trek fell onto a planet that didn't have any of that stuff, and it gets in the hands of a guy, and he's like, take this apart, see what this does.
Yeah. And
then suddenly, we've got phasers and you've got swords, and the whole game has changed.
Right.
And it isn't just material, because it's economic, because he goes to the guy and goes, love all that previous stuff. Hey, do you know the guys who do the trading thing that goes to the thing and the other around the thing and all that? And then suddenly he can establish a trade network with his new ships, which don't have to just go to Korea to mess things up over there. They have to go across the deep ocean.
Yes.
It's like a total game changer.
Yeah. And the Love did have a lot of different goods to trade, including muskets and cannons and cannonballs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm just saying.
This guy, I mean, I know this guy is just some dope who got lost on the way to Japan, but you can't discount his effect on Japanese. He had
a huge effect.
Japanese history, yeah, because like I said, like Tokugawa, might have been the main guy anyway, but all of these new elements, it's like when you play like Civilization, like those, historical strategy computer games, and you're just fighting like, oh, we've got bows and swords, and then we're working on gunpowder, and then suddenly you've got gunpowder, and the other nations don't have gunpowder, and it's like, well, where do you want the pyramid to be? Because we're just going to take this whole thing over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, letters were exchanged, and officially that officially established an alliance between Japan and New Spain. Ieyasu designated Adams as a diplomatic and trade counselor. Adams became Ieyasu's personal advisor on all things related to Western civilization and powers. After a few years, Adams replaced the Jesuit Padre Joao Rodriguez as the official interpreter for the shogun. Adams had a wife and child in England, but Ieyasu prohibited Adams to leave Japan. He would not let him go.
No, he can't let his little toy, his little discovery go.
He was too valuable to him. Adams was given 2 swords representing the authority of the samurai. Ieyasu ruled that William Adams, the pilot, was dead, and that Miura Anjin, a samurai, was born. According to Ieyasu, this measure, quote-unquote, freed Adams to work for the shogunate for all time, making Adams' wife in England effectively a widow.
Yeah, and how many wives would you like now?
Right.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Here's a couple.
Yeah, I know, right? Adams also was granted the title of hatamoto, which is a bannerman, which is a high status position as a direct attendant in the shogun's court.
Sure. The other translator named Rodriguez, Portuguese?
Yes, he was a Portuguese priest. He was a padre.
Yeah, so just like, here you go. Here's your pink scroll.
Yeah,
you
pretty
can
much.
pick up your last check from the executioner. See ya. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got a new drug.
Yeah. So when we think of samurai, I think what we tend to typically think about
Ghost of Tsushima.
Right, is like brave warriors, right? However, in the 17th century, the samurai slowly became government officials who controlled the day-to-day management of Japan.
Imagine Mitch McConnell with
right.
Wakizashi.
Wow.
And there you go.
So this is probably closer to Adams' position at the time. So there you go. Adam's status gave him the means to marry Oyuki, the adopted daughter of Mogome Kageyu, an important highway official in Edo. Adams and Oyuki had a son, Joseph, and a daughter, Susanna. In 1604, Ieyasu sent other members of the Love Crew on a shogun-licensed Red Seal ship, which were merchant-selling vessels bound for Southeast Asia with red-sealed letters that patent issued by the Tokugawa shogunate.
So he had a crew.
Well, there were 9 guys who.
Right. Yeah, I don't mean like a crew. I mean like a crew. Like he had like a posse of white boys.
Yes.
Who were all probably getting. He got the government position, the shogun title, but then they're all probably like retainers.
There at least a couple of them stayed in Japan for a really long time and made a lot of money doing trade.
This is where's the movie?
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean? And you go Tom Cruise or whatever,
right,
or the the Shogun TV series, but do it again.
Yeah, but
like now we have cultural context, and so it isn't just like, white man, I loved you in the Thornbirds. Come here with me, but also maybe I'm untrustworthy. Twirling my little Asian mustache.
Yes.
Now you could play it out with like everybody's like, they're all sort of scheming. Nobody's, with a more modern eye to it. Like Adams is a guy who's probably just a real screw up, but then he
not in Japan.
Right, but in Japan, it's like idiocracy. Like he doesn't know a lot. He just knows stuff that they don't know, and so suddenly he's like this. But then it all comes crashing down behind the koto music.
Right. Yes.
I want to see it.
Yeah, I want to see it too. Ieyasu commanded them to contact the Dutch East India Company trading factory, which had just started in 1602, in an effort to bring more Western trade to Japan and to shatter the Portuguese monopoly.
It was shattered.
Yeah. In 1605, Adams acquired a letter of authorization from Ieyasu officially inviting the Dutch to trade with Japan. Obstructed by clashes with the Portuguese and limited assets in Asia, the Dutch were unable to send vessels to Japan until 1609. 2 Dutch ships reached Japan in 1609, and the Dutch started a trading base or factory on Hirado Island, which is in Nagasaki Prefecture, close to Kyushu. 2 Dutch envoys, Puyak and Van den Broek, I don't know if I'm saying that right, were the formal carriers of a letter from Prince Maurice of Nassau to the court of Edo. Adams negotiated in place of these delegates, and the Dutch acquired free trading rights all over Japan, which was a big deal. Like, in contrast, the Portuguese could only trade their wares in Nagasaki.
Now, the rulers of, this would be Queen Elizabeth right now, wouldn't it? She must have got wind of this. And
I wasn't going to go into it too much because there's a lot of other stuff that he did.
Well, we don't have to go through all the things that he did.
No, but in 1611, Adam learned of an English settlement in Banten Sultanate in present-day Indonesia, and he invited them to trade with Japan. And in 1613, the English captain John Saris arrived at Hirado, intending to set up a trading factory for the British East India Company, and then they started trading with the English.
Yeah, I mean that's my thing. Like, he's given away the store, like he is an Englishman by birth, right?
Yeah.
So Queen Elizabeth has to be like, this son of a bitch. He's cutting deals with the Dutch. He's cutting deals with everybody. How come he's not cutting deals with me? He's widowed this poor woman.
Well, and so once this was established, once in 1613 this was established, he was actually able to send letters and money home to his family.
Sure, but
he'd been in Japan for 13 years at that point.
I don't know. I guess I don't know if Britain was worried about that right now. They were just getting over fighting Spain. They were still kind of fighting Spain.
Right.
So, but you just think like it's the British Empire. The sun never sets on it.
Yeah. Ieyasu, affected by Adam's guidance and distraught by unrest generated by the many Catholic converts in Japan, threw out the Portuguese Jesuits from Japan in 1614. He ordered that the Japanese Catholics discard their faith. Adams also forewarned Ieyasu against the Spanish. Adams died of illness at Hirado on May 16th, 1620, at the age of 55. He was buried in Hirado, where his grave marker may still be seen today. In 2019, a Japanese archaeologist discovered bones at the site thought to be Adams. And in 2020, the bones have formally been identified as Adams utilizing DNA testing.
Yeah, but how do they know, though? Does he have living survivors?
Are
there any living survivors? Oh, just dead survivors.
Right.
All right, we'll bring him in.
The article I read didn't actually go into how they were able to, they knew they were able to...
He's wearing a mask. That's the most important thing.
He wasn't Japanese. This person was not Japanese. They were able to get that much, but somehow...
Yeah, but he had a crew.
Yeah, but I think... I don't know how they were able to do it, because the article that I read... I actually read a couple of things, and they didn't say how they were able to do it exactly. I know that... his son, his half Japanese son, inherited his basically his land and everything after him, but he kind of once Japan closed off to the west, all trace of him kind of disappears. So they don't know where he ended up, which is kind of weird, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, he died before Japan was closed. So
yes, he did.
Nobody sent
Adams did. Yes.
Family a letter or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So he's buried, right? Now
yes.
He is buried 400 or so years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Does the ground shift or something like that? How does bones get out of his grave?
They were doing an archaeological
they were looking into his grave.
Yeah.
They were like, is the guy in here?
Right, because they thought that it was most likely him, but people have been but how do we know? And so they were trying to prove that it was.
Let's mess with it.
Yeah,
it's
right.
important.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's definitely not some dumb dildo who just crashed into Japan and really messed a lot of things up and then died.
Yep.
So we got to know that that's that guy.
I know. Just to talk a little bit about his legacy, a town in Edo called Anjin-cho in modern day Nihonbashi was named for Adams, who had a home there. And he is celebrated there on June 15th each year.
Really?
Yes. In the city of Ito, which, if you remember, was the site of where the first Western-style ship was built, in Shizuoka, Japan, the Miura Anjin Festival is held annually on August 10th. And on the seafront at Ito is a monument to Adams.
Do you get any idea of the perception of him as a figure in modern times?
I was trying to look for that. There's not...
Because he doesn't come up a lot.
There's
and I don't
not
think that
a
he
whole lot about him.
Needs to.
Yeah.
But like we said before, he was ultimately a pretty important figure.
Yes. I guess it kind of something that I found, which I think is interesting. It's not very large, but there is a William Adams Club, which is originally British members, but there's also a lot of Japanese members and one American, and they meet 3 times a year to celebrate Adams on the date of his birth
and play Magic the Gathering.
Right.
How big is this club?
His death and his arrival in Japan is about 20 people, but.
Okay, so in the future we have a rule about what's show worthy and what isn't, and I think 20 guys going, "It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool." You know, I'm descended from my great grandmother's side.
All right.
Yeah, I also terrible navigator. I ran into my house and
I know
it was a different family.
Okay,
I live with them now.
All right,
but it's just not that important. It's funny because it was also the time, that the Dutch East India Company was founded, and it didn't come from nowhere. I'm sure that a bunch of other trading companies all sort of merged to become
the company that
the Dutch East India Company
that he was on the original fleet on was a predecessor. Yeah.
So that company, that you might have remember hearing about in history class or whatever, is a huge company.
Right.
At the time that this stuff was taking place, it was worth $8 trillion. It was, in fact, adjusted for inflation, it is one of, if not the biggest, depending on the actual earnings, companies ever. They controlled everything.
Yeah.
And they don't teach you that in school. They just say it was lots of trading, Lots of sugar. Yeah. But if you watch a show like Taboo, which is on, I don't even know what Netflix is, Showtime, which is a Tom Hardy show about a guy who's Nootka Island.
Yeah.
One of the main villain of the show is the Dutch East India Company, and you see how much they dictate terms to the king, to governments. Like, they are an entity unto themselves, basically. They are, when you think about, like, nations' economies, they are an economy unto themselves, answerable only to their board. Yeah. And so, I don't want to get too deep into, like, socioeconomic commentary on this show, but, that's, we've got that now. We got rid of that. Yeah. And we managed to come back and make it again. The bald guy.
Yeah.
Who lives in California.
Yeah. I think it's important to also recognize that Adams helped set up the trade with the Dutch, but the Dutch held that contract with Japan. That same contract, more or less, was renewed for like over 200 years. And they were
making money.
Yeah. Well, they were one of the only countries that was still allowed to trade with Japan, while Japan was essentially closed off to the rest of the world, which is no small feat, And
they threw in a crate of wooden shoes.
Yeah.
Every shipment. They're like, just try them. You guys just try them.
Yeah, right.
They're really great.
Well,
no thanks.
They had their own wooden shoes.
Yeah, we got these.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay. We'll leave them here. I'll just leave them here.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention really quick James Clavell's best-selling novel Shogun, which was a whole series, but the first
Asian
book,
series.
Yeah, wow.
That's what it's called.
Okay, well, the initial
novel... At least
novel...
it's not called the Oriental series.
No, thank goodness. The initial novel came out in 1975, and it was based on Adam's life, and he changed the name of the protagonist to John Blackthorne.
Yeah, but he was called Anjin.
Yeah, right. So pilot. And this was, of course, adapted as a TV miniseries called Shogun in 1980. And it was also adapted as a Broadway production, Shogun the Musical, in 1990.
Shogun the Musical!
Yeah, and apparently also a video game, James Clavell's Shogun, in 1989.
We're lost! We're lost! I don't know where we are.
Yes.
A video game?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
No, I don't, yeah.
It was like a text game?
I don't know much about it, to be perfectly honest. I don't know.
I want to be Richard Chamberlain in a game. Do it, cowards. Remake Shogun.
Itidakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in the episode? No food in this episode, so we're moving on. My Heart is the Kaleidoscope, where we talk about fashion in Sailor Moon. What the heck are they wearing? I just have one quick thing that I want to talk about this episode. In episode 35, which is when Usagi finds out that she is Princess Serenity and Artemis does an info dump about the Moon Kingdom, we see Queen Serenity for the first time. The reason we are talking about Queen Serenity's look again is that in that episode, the color of her bow and her hair is incorrect. In episode 35, the large bow on Queen Serenity's long white dress is aqua, and her hair is blonde, just like Usagi's. In this episode, we see the correct colors. Queen Serenity's bow on her dress is white, and her hair is silver. This is the same color choices that we see in Nako Takeuchi's materials collection, so I am not sure if they had not gotten the notes from Nako Takeuchi yet about Queen Serenity, or if this was a mistake by the animators.
If you think that's hot, I saw a picture on Twitter that proves that no matter which way you look at Sailor Moon, her bow is layered in a certain way where the front is over the top is over the bottom or whatever. So,
oh, really?
So if you see her from the front or from the side, there's the big bow and then there's the tails that come out behind it. But then if you see her like coming towards you and the bow is behind her, then the tails are out in front of the top part of the bow.
Whoa.
It's like an optical illusion.
Huh. That's weird. That's really weird.
There's somewhere there's a like a style guide. There's a picture of Sailor Moon front and back, and it was drawn that way. And so every key animator from there on probably just went, I don't know, is this what it says on the thing?
Right.
Animation's like they're worked to death, but it's also kind of like McDonald's. You work at McDonald's and they have a
yeah.
picture of how a cheeseburger goes together, and that's what you do on
Right.
a cartoon.
I mean, like,
It's
she
not
looks...
your cartoon.
Right. She looks like Queen Serenity. It's not like she looks different, and the dress style is exactly the same. It's just the coloring was like a little off. And when we watched episode 35, I never remembered the color being off when I watched this when I was, a teen. And I just don't remember seeing that. And I watched it when I was watching it again. I was like, what? So anyways, moving on to villain gauge, where you rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. No Yoma this week, just Kunzite. So let's talk about and rate Kunzite, shall we?
Let's.
I think that he started out really strong, but it just kind of went downhill from there. He looks really cool. I like his long white greenish hair. He's got major epaulets and an awesome cape. I like his relationship with Zoisite and how protective and caring he is towards him. But on his own, as a villain, he's disappointing. In his first encounter with the Senshi in episode 33, he starts off really strong, fighting the Senshi and absorbing their power menacingly. But most of his plans to attack the Senshi or get the silver crystal are ill thought out and lame. When a fight starts, he often disappears, leaving the fighting to the Yoma. He isn't as sassy as Zoisite, nor as alluring as Nephrite, nor as calculating as Jediite. I really want to like him, but he's incompetent and doesn't have a very strong personality.
No, you're saying that he doesn't have all the qualities that made those other characters interesting.
Yes. Yes, I am. So I'm going to give him 3 out of 5 dark stars.
That 3 is so generous for all the bad things that you just said.
You think I should give him a
about
2?
This. No, I can't change your rating. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe I am being generous because he is, a dark king or a dark king.
Yeah. We stand a dark king.
Yeah. Well, he's one of the 4 kings. So.
Yeah, one too many.
Yeah.
There's a reason the Bible got it right with 3 kings.
Whoa.
Because I'm giving him a 3, and I'm going to say some good things about him. So it's going to make more sense than your 3. But
hey.
He proved to me that the epaulets don't make the man. And he's a victim of the last part of this season of this show because they don't know what they're doing.
No.
And so they've got everything in place, and they gave us that huge dump. They should have... Let me finish. That's what I said when I was taking the huge jump. They gave us the huge dump at the same time that they were also bringing out, Zoisite and doing all that, and the tower and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they should have, and I think I said this back then, they should have paced this out a little more and spread it out a little bit.
Yeah, spread out the exposition.
Because once all that's set up and we know what the stakes are, then how do we fill 8 episodes? And he just turns people into monsters now, and then they clumsily try to get the girls' identities because that's going to help them.
Yep.
Something. And yeah, and it just became a waiting game and a killing time game when clearly what's interesting is what's going on with Endymion, what's going on with his connection to Metalia and the Dark Kingdom.
Yep.
And we're going to get all that in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But we have to go through him to get that. And I don't mean go through him like this is going to be a thing. We just have to just tear through him like football players coming out onto the field. Like it just wasn't... He just doesn't... Yeah, it was just a lot of buildup for not much. And again, it's that thing of... Remember how when Nephrite, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Stan Sunday Lovin' King. When he was introduced and they almost immediately introduced Zoisite.
Yes.
We got a chance to meet Zoisite, get to know his personality, his quirks. So when he takes over, you're like, okay, I know this guy. I'm ready.
Yeah.
But Kunzite was always in the background and was defined mainly at that time by his connection to Zoisite.
Yes.
Which I think is great, but nothing to stand out, nothing once he takes over, nothing to make him individualize from, Zoisite or the other kings.
Yes.
So it's just, it's not the focus. They're not the most important part of the show, but
no,
we do
they're not.
spend time talking about them at the end of the episode. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just a 3.
Right. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I want to like him more, but
You said that?
I did.
Yeah.
So
you want to like him so much that you say you want to like him.
I know. So kind of speaking of Zoisite, do you remember how several episodes ago we were talking about Kunzite and Zoisite's relationship and how it was only in the anime and whether or not it was Nako Takeuchi's intention for them to be in a relationship?
Yes.
Well, I found out more information
Whoa.
about the note that Takeuchi put in the materials collection. So the verb that was used in the note is kawaigaru, which means to be fond of. This should actually be translated into English as looks after, thinks fondly of Zoisite. That's how it should have been translated in the materials collection. And this is a fondness for a younger sibling and not a romantic love. It's never used to describe a romantic love. So the fan translation that I saw that says has a romantic relationship with Zoisite was a mistranslation.
Now I'll go.
Yeah.
You're letting me down here. You're really letting me down.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
it's not hers anymore. It's ours.
Yeah.
And it's so strange because, we've got that. You're going to have to tell me how the manga relates to the show when we get to Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
But it's explicit there.
It's
And
much more explicit.
Yeah, much more. But also, and I don't know, let's just say...
It's explicit.
Let's just say I can't avoid seeing some things. And I know that, but I'm not cheating. But, I know that, like, she flaunts it in people's faces. And people are like, what? And she's like, yeah, that's right. Boop, ba-doop, ba-doop, ba-doop. So it's, like, clearly meant to be there. So
yeah, it's meant to be
maybe
there.
she wrote that, but I believe in her heart she knew what she was creating.
Okay.
And thought, like, Marty McFly, you guys aren't ready for that yet. But then later on, when Marty McFly came back in Back to the Future 2, this metaphor is getting all messed up.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're just going to do it.
Sure. I mean,
And
it's
not just have the villains do it. It's going to
Right.
be a positive representation because the heroes are going to do it.
Right. And that could be exactly what happened. I don't know.
And then Sailor Moon Z is just one pansexual orgy. Shouldn't we be getting the moon, Crystal?
Wow.
No, keep doing this.
Wow.
Right. We're stuck. We have nothing left to say about Kunzite. And I feel bad, but,
I hope he finds Zoisite. That's
Yeah, okay,
that's all
sure.
I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Um,
And limbo in Shinto faith is, just not great. It's just like middle.
yeah, that's it's never good, is it?
Well, they have a hell.
Mm-hmm.
I think their concept of heaven has been greatly infected by Dutch missionaries, but they had an idea
What about the Portuguese priests?
of being, being elevated and
Yeah.
going to a better place.
Yeah.
And limbo's just like it's just
Yeah, it's not
out
great.
there in the middle. See, a bus comes through every once in a while, but we don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, that's very true. For Sabu or Dabu, where we talk about the differences between the sub and the dub. In the dub, Kunzite is called Malachite. The opening scene where Usagi dreams about Tuxedo Mask and Luna wakes her up and tells her that Venus and Artemis have found the entrance to the Dark Kingdom was cut. Queen Serenity's moon healing escalation was altered to cosmic moon power. So just... Let me say something about that really quick. So,
General Moon stuff.
So they like to, for whatever reason, Deke likes to change the name of their powers like a lot, and I don't know why, because they're in English, right? So in the dub, moon healing escalation was split into two different attacks. When utilized to heal, Sailor Moon would say moon healing activation. But when utilized for non-healing, as it is here, Sailor Moon would say cosmic moon power, so it would be the same thing.
So they make up stupid distinctions,
Yeah.
but they actually track them.
I think so, yes.
Admirable.
Yeah, right, I know. In the dub, the scene where Queen Serenity dies on a fallen pillar that was actually technically two pillars on top of each other and cross-shaped was cut. It is speculated that it was most likely cut for the Christ-like imagery.
Which, I mean, Japan can't get them enough Christ-like imagery. They like it.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, I don't know. What can you say? When the Senshi return to their world after their time travel in the dub, the dialogue is very different. In the original, they're talking about everything they learned, and Usagi is very upset about her mother that she just learned of. In the dub, the Senshi have an inspirational talk amongst themselves, and then the Senshi and Malachite diss each other back and forth, which is kind of different, I think. In the dub, you do still see Sailor Moon getting her clothes cut, but the shot of this occurring to Mars and Venus is cut. When this happens to Mercury and Jupiter, half of the shot is cut. There was a white flash on the screen where the slashes should have happened. It's time to rate the show. I like that the Senshi learn more about the Silver Millennium and their past lives in this episode. However, I think that it could have been told in a more exciting way and as less of an information exposition dump. This is not necessarily an episode that I would reach for if I just wanted to watch a good episode of Sailor Moon, so I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 roses.
That seems a little harsh.
You think?
I'd give it a 4.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't like info dump episodes, but as I was saying at the beginning, this is more dramatized.
That's true.
You know, we are seeing pivotal moments that will affect the entirety of the series.
That's also true.
And you have to consider, well, like, you don't have to. I consider this to be the last act or second to last act of a story that's been going for a while. So even though the fight between the Sailor Scouts and Kunzite is anticlimactic for him being the, number 2 bad guy, it's still a culmination of everything they've gone to up to this point. He's brutalized them and harried them and defeated them again and again and again. And so, they finally beat him. And I think that that's great. And he dies in an awesome way. Although they've killed 43 monsters up to this point, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're already murderers, but
they're monsters, right? Yeah, I know.
Right. But, she pretty casual. It's like, she didn't throw the boomerang. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. That's true.
Stop. Why are you killing yourself? Stop it. But she pretty casually just toasts that guy, which was awesome. But then you're watching like, this is a show about pretty girls.
I know.
But I liked the cognitive dissonance of that. I liked sort of having to deal with that. Like, it's, dress up time's over.
Right. Exactly.
And then the cats are being heroic and doing their thing. I still have no idea how the cave connects to the North Pole, connects to the hole of the tower or whatever else. But it is a multidimensional chaos world, I guess. So I don't know. At this point in the season, I've surrendered to the madness, and I'm on board. I've been brainwashed like the Warriors of Earth, so I'm giving it a 4.
All right. My English title is Events Past, Silver Millennium Revealed.
We kind of saw it before, but yeah, I guess it's truly revealed to us.
Yes, exactly.
Mine is Tranquility Shattered.
Ooh, I like that.
Like the Sea of Tranquility.
Very nice.
On the moon.
Gotcha.
There's like 3 levels of that.
I know.
You're like, sounds interesting. Oh, it's something. It's something I don't know. Okay.
Next episode, we are talking about episode number 45. Sailor Senshi Shisu. Hiso Naru Sashusen in Japanese. Death of the Sailor Guardians, the tragic final battle. And for the Deke dub episode, in the original run, 45 and 46 of the original Japanese season, which is a 2-parter, were combined and edited down to one episode entitled Day of Destiny.
Monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an American cartoon series. Well, it is now. You want to... the stone.
Yeah.
There's a 1 drop of blood left.
Yeah.
You want to do as many as you can.
Yeah.
When you hear like some of my favorite cartoons that I remember from childhood that were influential on me, I find out later only ran for like a year, but apparently it was like that year was like a million years to me in my mind. I
totally understand what you're saying. Yeah.
So it's just one season. How many episodes? 83. They make 1 million episodes because it runs daily. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, 2 episodes? Yeah, make it 1.
Yeah.
It's just 1.
Yeah.
Is it because like, oh boy, although the subject matter. Did they have to cut a lot of the subject matter? Because this is gonna be our Sailor R for R-rated.
I mean,
Sailor
think
Moon's gonna
it's
have Wolverine claws that come out. She's gonna be
without,
like,
yeah, right.
in the name of the moon, I'll cut your face off.
Without giving anything away, I
Okay,
suspect
all right.
it's because
You already did.
it's violent. So, you know, they like to cut things that are violent. Like even in this episode, like the girls getting their clothes cut, that was too much. So, you know.
Just be like, well, Tuxedo Mask, I'm breaking up with you. Just hand out the other side. And then they throw her the moonstick. She grabs it while her arm is through Tuxedo Mask. And she's like, in the name of the... Bye. Passes it to the other hand. Pulls her arm out.
That would be a very different show. Very different tone from what we've
Well,
seen
they did
so
like
far.
the serious like Power Rangers video a couple years back. Remember that? It was like the R-rated Power Rangers. How come somebody hasn't done R-rated Sailor Moon? Oh, we got to cut this.
Oh.
We got to cut this.
Well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Like,